Hello, my beloved. Oh my goodness, it's just a big thunder. We have a hurricane, so my apology for being late with my show, but everything just went dark and I had to reboot everything. So these things happen, but it's my commitment to be with you on this show, hurricane or tropical storm or not. So here I am with you. I made it. So, my name is Dr. Angelika Christie, and you are here with me on my weekly show, Your Radiant Life After 45, for smart women, for curious women who want more from life. And as a naturopathic doctor, as a relationship coach, and leader in self-development and spiritually on the spiritual side, I'm a Reiki master teacher with 30 years of experience in all things natural. Good health, longevity, women's wellness, especially women of a certain age. That's the area that I focus on the most. And you are here with me because you want to learn a little bit more about what keeps you not only healthy, but happy and engaged and full of energy and joy. Yes, joy, happiness. This is our birthright. And so this is what my show is all about. So today I would like to speak about choices. One of the most profound difference and one of the most profound gifts that humans have that is 100% available, which is an absolute. There is just, it's a fact, all right? It's not only truth, it's a fact that nobody else on earth has. Nobody in the animal kingdom. And that is that we humans are the only species on our planet that have free will, which means we do have a choice. We can choose. We have choices. Only the limited imagination, the limited mental capacity, or even our limiting belief systems interferes with this profound truth. An animal, a mammal, or any other animal does not have a lot of choices. We have domesticated dogs, and I think dogs have developed, they become more and more human. So there is something that is in the evolutionary development that is maybe shifting. But basically, all animals, especially animals in the wild, react, act, and according to their behavior that is really outlined and dictated almost by nature. When I say that it's their natural behavior, it means it's designed by nature for one purpose and one purpose alone. And that purpose is, first of all, to survive, and second, to reproduce. That's what it's all about. Surviving, thriving, reproducing, having offspring. That's it. All animals behave in a certain pattern for a very good reason. For exactly that reason, to survive and to multiply. The bee doesn't mate with the wasp, right? The horse doesn't mate with the cow. A horse behaves in a particular way, and a cow behaves in a particular way. The fly, the bee, the bird, all animals and creatures, and even plant systems, including trees and everything that exists on our planet, must behave in a certain way. They are designed and enforced by nature. Not us, not you and I. We don't. You and I have a choice. And there are certain guidelines, of course, that we also follow for our own well-being, our survival, and so that we can thrive. And one of them is that we need each other. We are not doing very well when we are isolated. That's probably why one of the, apart from getting the death, being in prison on the death row. The other one, that's probably the worst, but the other one is being put into isolation. And I remember there was a tribe somewhere in the Amazon, I believe, where the worst punishment, the capital punishment was isolation, was being expelled from the tribe. That was a death sentence, because we do not survive or thrive on our own. There are always examples that are outside of the norm. There are always exceptions. But 99% of us are not doing well in isolation at all. It may kill us sooner than later. So we are no loners, really. We need community. We need, well, in the ancient days, it was just called the tribe. And today we call it kind of tribe again. Online, we create our tribes. But we have families and communities, right? What's even more, today we can choose our tribe. In the ancient days, we were born in a certain tribe, which made us behave in a certain way and be stuck in that tribe. Today, we can travel the world, we can change tribes, we can live in any community, in any country. But there is a progression and an evolution in our ability to choose. And even though we always had it, but it wasn't so obvious. We were not aware of all the choices we had. And one of the reasons is because we were kind of confined into where we were born and where we grew up. So all the way back then, we probably didn't have those choices because we were for our own protection, and not only the survival, but also the continuation of our clan, of our tribe, of our race, of our way of life, of our particular way of being. And so in a larger sense, that was also the reason why we stayed together in tribes. So we behave in a certain way. Now the world has grown together, and the ability to travel by sea and by air now. First, of course, it was by horse, right? And then by sailing, the first ships were built, sailing ships, wooden ships. And they started to cross the oceans. Then, upon the arrival of the train, we were able to cross through even larger parts of terrain without tiring our horses and without being, stressed on a horse, because, it's not as comfortable as sitting in a train. And the train is moving and we don't have to do anything. Then with the arrival of planes now, and larger planes that can reach one continent, and that can fly from one continent, not just from one country to another, but one continent to another continent. The world grew together, and we have been mixed up. We have been mixed with each other in our races, and so much has changed, right? But that was not necessarily because of it, but it was demanded by nature that we. It wasn't just by choice, but there was a drive, an inner drive to explore and to conquer and to find out other parts of this incredible planet. Okay. For example, I was born in Germany, right? And at age 34, I fell in love with the Bahamian man. Why? Because I traveled to the Bahamas and I explored and I experienced a totally different country. I mean, there couldn't be anything more opposite than being in old traditional Germany, and myself coming from an aristocratic family, it was especially, there wasn't that free life, that you find in the Bahamas. So I fell in love with the Bahamian man and I moved to the Bahamas. We married and have two beautiful children. While what you would say beautiful is the most beautiful mixture between a Bahamian man and a German, I believe. They are a little bit mulatto and they are absolutely stunningly gorgeous. That would have been impossible a couple of 100 years ago. Well, at least a couple of 1,000 years ago, a couple of 100 years ago, it would have been possible, but not a couple of 1,000 years ago. So nothing is all one-sided, right? That awareness and taking advantage of more and more choices that are presented to us that we have today because the world grew together, there is also the other side of it. It's a blessing, and it can also become a little overwhelming. I mean, you know that today one of the most common complaints is for us to be overwhelmed because there is so much. We are online. I mean, this is such a gift because otherwise you couldn't listen to me, you couldn't see me. So it's technology is amazing. It's a gift. Very often we look at others and see what they choose, and sometimes we envy others for the choices that they make. And sometimes we just force ourselves to make a choice, and that is not always, it's maybe not always in our best interest, because the choices is not just an external thing. If the choice that we make, whether it's in our relationship, in our business, is not in alignment and in resonance, in alignment, it's really when you are in alignment, you are on the same wavelength. So you are resonating with our true being. Then we create dissonance, we create friction, we create resistance, internal, dramatic resistance. And I'm going to speak a little bit more about this because it is such a stressor, and most of us are so unaware how this really happens, that we overlook it, that we disregard it. But there is something that our bodies always let us know if there is a dissonance, if there is a misalignment, if we are not resonating on the outside with who we are on the inside. So our mind may just want to push through something, but there is something that goes against our true being if we push through something that is not in alignment. And that will come out sooner or later, and it will show itself in, for example, in stress, in irritation, and in just not feeling well, even unhappiness. Things are just not developing the way we had envisioned them because maybe the choices we made were not in alignment with the energy of who we are, even who we are at that moment, or even with our true character. Our character is very powerful. I do agree that it is not easy to find your true authentic being. It's because we are so often distracted by all the things we see and are told we should achieve and should have and should experience and should be. And it's not always in our best interest. And our true being, many, many times, is not even discovered in one lifetime. And that, looking for it, searching for it, and not finding it, creates a lot of unhappiness. In order to examine and become aware of what your choices are, you must first go within and ask yourself a couple of important questions. Doesn't everything start with becoming still and getting into alignment with your true self? And then the questions that you ask are really, really important. For example, the questions about what do I believe? What do you believe? And this can be in a particular area, because when you go commonly all of your belief systems, you may get overwhelmed. But just something in particular, you have a belief system in something, because you maybe engage in a conversation and somebody says something that you disagree with. So why do you disagree with it? You believe something different, correct? And so the question is, what do I believe? And then the next question is, why do I believe this? Then the next question may be, who told me so? And the next question could be, by whose authority do I believe this? If you understand or if you remember who told you so, then what is the authority? Is it your parents, your community, your teachers, the priest, the church? What is it? Who told you that particular belief that you took on? Because you're not born with belief systems. You're born as a blank, open-minded. So, by whose authority do I believe this? And is it really, really true? Does it light up your spirit, what you believe? How does it feel in your body? Does it feel heavy, restrictive? Or does it feel open and free and joyous and exuberant? Because if not, if you feel you must have it, or you must have something in a certain way, or you are restricted in a restrictive belief system, it doesn't feel very expansive, right? It feels rather constricted. In our last episode, we spoke about how joyous and openness feels, and how being constricted and depressed, how that feels, right? I mean, there is even a correlation between your body, what your body does and how you feel. So something has been instilled in your subconscious mind, and everything has been somehow put there from when you were very small. You have been honed and trained in a certain way that affects your programming now, because your subconscious mind is what runs your life, runs it 95% of the time. We are creatures of habit too. What is it that makes you choose the thing you choose? What is it? And if there is something in your life that you don't feel right about, that you wish you could change, can you? Yes, you can. But do you believe you can? If you believe you cannot change it, then whatever you believe becomes your reality. And there may be a dozen reasons for that. When we believe that we cannot change something, then that becomes our truth, and we are stuck there. And it is very difficult to get unstuck out of that. That's why we need teachers and a mentor, a coach, a guide, somebody who is not attached to your internal programming, to your history, to your belief system, and to the story you tell yourself. And you can see what, and you can only see what you have experienced and what you see with your own eyes, but it's reflected. Everything you even see that is new is comes through a filter, and that filter is your internal belief system. And you can see the possibilities and see what is possible according to your belief system. But there is so much more that is possible, but those are your blind spots. You cannot see them, which means then you cannot bring this into any deeper understanding that could actually widen your experience and give you so much more access to so many more things. That's where a guide comes in, a coach, a mentor. I still have coaches, I still have mentors, because you never totally grow out of being somehow restricted, confined in your belief system. I have constantly, consciously work on becoming more aware where I'm stuck, where my belief system keeps me stuck, and how I can break through and can make different choices and go with suggestions that I did not take before, but that I can consider, even if I don't believe them yet. I can give it some consideration. I can consider it something totally new, totally foreign to me. I can consider it and sit with it and develop it, and it will absolutely, in the end, I can still make a choice if I want to take this as a new belief system or as a possibility or not. That is still a choice. As I said, we are the only species on this earth who have that choice, which is sometimes we don't really value this enough, the choice we have. We get, and I have spoken about this so often, how we get programmed, from when we are small by our parents. What is according to their belief systems. We take that on, what is possible for us. And it is not easy to break free of that, break out of it, especially if you are a child that loves and honors their parents and just wants to be like them, wants to follow them. Others are rebels, they break off, they break out. I was such a rebel. As I said, I come from a very traditional, old, aristocratic family, and I was a little bit of a rebel. I broke rules. I mean, my whole life is it's a story of that. I broke so many rules, but I created a beautiful life for myself that others would have never thought was possible. When I left everything in Germany and moved to the Bahamas, I married a Bahamian man, even though I was already married. As I got divorced, I already had 3 children. I got 2 more children. And I mean, my whole life has been so much of an example of the choices and the consequences of those choices. And then even the man I was my soulmate, my Bahamian husband, after less than 10 years, I felt restricted. I felt I needed to discover myself so much more. So I left him, I divorced him. And after 10 years, I married him again, and we exploded in our expansion of our relationship, the possibilities, and it is so powerful and beautiful now. So that I have all of these experiences apart from being a relationship coach and a naturopathic and a doctor and a spiritual teacher, Reiki master teacher. And all of this, I call it the trinity of life: your spirituality, your health, and your relationships. And please get in touch with me, because I'm going to launch a relationship, no, not a relationship, a membership site where I bring those three, the trinity of life, into it, to teach women 45 and over how to up-level their life in those three areas: their own spirituality, knowing the magnificent woman that she is, in her health, for health and longevity and wellness, and in her relationships with herself and with others. And this is all I can share with you today, because the time is up. And I guess those 5 minutes that I came in late is now, is now why I have to, not quite finished yet. But please come back next Saturday and be with me again. And please have a look at all of the episodes that are there for you to see. All of my love to you, and be aware of your choices. Until I see you again, bye bye for now.